Okay, so again, this is introduction to for the undergrads, for the graduate students, natural language processing course. My name is Yusuf Sinan Akkul. This is my email address and this is my phone number in case you need to access, get in contact with me. Before I forget, let me put the syllabus into the Teams page. Where is my, okay, not that one. Here it is, okay. So, okay, inside the class materials. Okay, so 640, 564 or 654. Is it loading? And get rid of this one. Okay, so yesterday I sent email to all the class members saying that I can accept only 20 people in this classroom because of the precautions about this virus. So you already registered your names, but it looks like I have 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 people, but so most of you, but some of you did not register. Who did not register in this class? Why didn't you register?
I'm not officially taking the class yet, so I haven't had the email.
Are you gonna take it officially?
If I can, yes.
How about other people? You didn't get the email?
I didn't get, like official. I'm registered as official, but I didn't get the mail.
Okay, so you are supposed to register before you come, but it looks like many people will not come. It looks like I have 40 plus 10, 50 people. But this classroom can hold at most 20 or 25, I can say 25. That means that unfortunately, I won't be able to accept all 50 of you in this classroom at the same time. So that means before you coming to class, you are going to register your name in the spreadsheet. Okay, you are going to choose it. And if there is space, you will come. But it looks like most people prefer not coming. And that's not good. And let's talk about the attendance policy, actually. It will be clear in that case. So I don't know how to do that. Well, I mean, even if you didn't get the email because you are not on the. So do you have access to Teams page?
I
Yes.
think so.
How do you know the Teams page address then?
My friend is taking the course.
Okay, how about other? Do you have the Teams page address? Where did you get it?
From the elections for the master degree, I joined from. It's not official. Do you have email address with you?
Okay, you need to get the Teams page. If you get to the Teams page, then you have access to all the class materials and everything. Okay? I send the Teams page address to all the official students. So you need to get the Teams page. Okay, so let me start talking about this course itself. There are no TAs for this course. I will be alone, but I might ask some help from some of the TAs later, but I don't have any names to give you as a TAs.
So
So,
I don't think you are sharing your screen because it's
what?
not showing. I'm in the meeting, but there is no screen.
Why don't they tell me themselves?
I don't know.
Okay, it is their problem. I told them that I am not going to read the chat messages. So this is the natural language processing course. And as I said before, you need to be on the Teams page. For some of you who did not use, who used the Moodle system previously, we are not going to use Moodle for this course at all. Okay. I'll look back to you because there is nothing to see me. Okay. So there won't be any Moodle pages for this course. Everything will be on the Teams pages. What does that mean? You need to be very careful about the Teams messages. Also, you need to be very careful about your emails. I will send either email to you through your official email address, or I will put messages on the Teams pages in order to you are going that way. Maybe you should open the other one too. Yeah. Okay. So you need to be very careful about this in order not to miss any course announcements. You have to be monitoring both of your email address, email accounts, also the team pages for the class-related announcements. Again, no Moodle pages for this course. Okay, so let's start talking about the course objectives. I don't know what you expect from natural language processing course, but this is the main idea. Okay, we like to build or analyze or understand systems that can understand and produce, okay, human languages. That's the meaning of natural language processing. It is not computer programming.
Sorry for interrupting. Can you share your screen with us?
Sure, no problem. It is sufficient just to ask. Okay, do you guys see it now?
It's loading.
Do you see it now?
It's still loading. You cannot see.
What happened to my... Okay, here it is. I am connected. Does anybody see my slide, course objectives?
I see now.
Okay. Efkan, do you see it?
No, I cannot see.
Just log out and log back in.
Okay.
Okay. Does anybody have any problems? Do you guys see it all? You either see it or you don't see it. Just tell me something. Do you see or not see?
I can see, sir.
Okay, there are
I can see, sir.
three, 4 people, I guess.
I can see too.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. Good. So the course objective is this: we are going to look at the systems to create, design, analyze systems that understand and produce language, human language. For example, information extraction systems. Okay. What is information extraction? You have a very large human language data. For example, encyclopedia or the Wikipedia pages or some novel. Okay. You are asking questions about it. Who is the real hero who is the main hero of this novel? Or what is the population of Ankara, capital city of Turkey, etc. You extract this information, you bring it out. So that's the problem of information extraction from an unstructured human language data. Or machine translation, these are very popular NLP applications. translating from one human language to another human language, such as from English to Turkish, Turkish to French, and etc. That's called machine translation. Automatic summarization, you have a very large set of human-produced text. You like to summarize it. A classical summarization. Can I do it with computers? Question answering systems. You ask questions. Okay, you will say that how do I set up an account, a bank account in your bank? A question answering system. So you get the question and you answer the question like a human is answering it. Or interactive dialogue systems. Again, you call up a bank and you start doing stuff. I like to know my balance, my total balance after January 15th, etc. Okay, so you if you are doing one of these tasks, you are doing NLP, natural language processing. So most of them are very difficult tasks. We are not claiming to solve all of them 100%, because as we are going to see, these are all AI-related problems, artificial intelligence-related problems, and you don't provide 100% solutions for artificial intelligence problems because those are too difficult problems. Okay, so this is just a small introduction to course objectives. If you did not understand some of these topics, it will be clearer later. But all the time in this course, whenever we look at the problem, I will never give you a complete solution. The solution will be partial, and this is as expected. I mean, you would say that the Google search is smart, right? When you say Google search is smart, you don't expect the Google to provide the full answer to your questions. And when you make a search, you are lucky. You are lucky when you find your answer in your first page of the given answers, right? You have to you have to ask more questions. You have to click a few more pages and etc. After that, maybe you can get your answer, and it won't be a complete correct answer. Okay. Usually, as I said before, for the AI types questions, you don't have the perfect 100% question, or only you have good enough questions. So what is the best summarization? I mean, if I give you 100 pages of human text, summarize it in half a page, and I ask the same question to 5 different people, and usually I will get 5 different answers, right? How do you know that which one is the perfect answer? There is no perfect summarization, right? Even if the main author of that text summarizes that text, you don't expect it. You wouldn't say that this is the perfect answer. Okay, for the summarization or for the translation, for the many question answering systems, there is no perfect answer. There are only good enough answers. In artificial intelligence systems, that's what we do. We try to find satisfying answers, and that's what we are going to do with the natural language processing. Okay, so this is kind of a small introduction about course objectives. Textbook, unfortunately, I am saying this unfortunately, as with all the artificial intelligence problems or the work areas, we are under a very big change. This new technique called deep learning changing everything, and I don't want this course to be a deep learning course, because there are deep learning courses already available. You can take those courses, and I like this course to be a natural language processing course, so I don't want to get into the details of deep learning at the beginning of the class. I like to cover the classical natural language processing first at the first half of the course, the first 7-8 weeks maybe. Okay, so for that case we are going to use this book. It's kind of a relatively old book, 2008. Okay, Juravsky and Martin, two good computer scientists. They are good NLP scientists. Also, they are very good computer scientists too. So this book is available. If you look at the web, you can buy this book. But as I said, it's an old book. If you have other means of finding this book, is good. Juravsky started writing the third edition of this book. Okay, language processing, speech and language processing book, maybe 3-4 years ago. But it turned out that the field is changing very, very fast, and it is going in a different way. So he did not finalize this book, but he keeps this book PDF pages under his page. So instead of buying this book in hard copy, maybe you can go to his site and download his PDF pages, PDF chapters, and start reading. That's what I am doing. Okay, this is a very good source. I don't think that he's going to finalize it, because the things he's talking about while he's writing it is becoming old and not used much. So since this is an introductory course about the NLP, I like to show you the classical natural language processing and natural language generation techniques. Okay, so these are the textbooks, and this is available in the syllabus. Okay, for the course prerequisites, who can take this course? Of course, you need to have solid C++ or Java programming skills. I like to assign some programming projects. Most probably it will be 4 programming projects. Okay, and you are supposed to write C or Java code on that. Usually I will not tell you which language to use. You are going to select it yourself. And I think Python will be good enough for my homeworks too. So I can add C++, Java, or Python programming skills. But you need to have some programming skill, solid programming skill, in one of your favorite languages. Okay. So are all the people computer engineering people in this classroom? No. What is your department?
Bioinformatics and systems.
Bioinformatics. Okay. Yeah. You should have done. You must have done some programming before.
Yes, but Python, not C++.
Okay. Python is good enough. Yeah. Okay. No problem.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So, as you said that natural language processing may have have some connection with machine learning and deep learning. So, should we, until we come to that part, study it on our own, machine learning?
No. Well, you don't. Well, of course. I mean, if you like to do it, that would be good. But I am not expecting you to know any machine learning stuff to do those homeworks. Whatever you need, I will tell you in the class. Okay. I mean, for some people it is unfortunate, but for some people it is fortunate that most of the state-of-the-art systems are using machine learning, especially deep learning, for NLP or any other part of the artificial intelligence world. This is in a way good, because the results are very good, the numbers are very good, performances of the applications are good, but most of the time for this kind of courses it is bad, because for machine learning techniques to work you need data. Okay, it takes data in it produces outputs. You don't have to know the details of the language, you don't have to know the details of the natural language processing. So for most of the deep learning systems, your input sentences are the same as your input images or the pixels or the sensor data. Okay, so as long as it is data, you are fine with the machine learning or deep learning stuff. And I don't want you to think about the natural language processing this way, because there is more to it. And I like to teach you some of the classical techniques that we used to use to process the natural languages.
Sir, may I ask a question?
Sure.
But since we need to produce data, we need to structure it, we need to match them with a result to use deep learning. So we need to do this stuff, and we can use, I think, from only this part of the lecture, we can use NLP for this part also. Isn't it possible?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I mean, the machine learning stuff or the deep learning stuff they come to in a world that you don't have to do any of that stuff. It is just characters in and results out. You might be saying that, well, somebody needs to process data and say that, okay, let's talk about, let me go to, for example, machine translation. Somebody has to say that, okay, for this English sentence, this is the Turkish sentence, right? For this French sentence, this is the Turkish sentence. Somebody has to provide this correspondence so that the machine learning works. The state-of-the-art methods, they don't need this correspondence. It just takes the Wikipedia dump of the Turkish Wikipedia, and the French Wikipedia. Even though the articles don't correspond to each other perfectly, it can figure out which word corresponds to which word. And that's the case. So we call it supervised, unsupervised. So the way the state of the art, the current technology says that unsupervised methods or active learning methods or few shot learning methods are becoming more popular, and they are doing as good as supervised methods. Okay, so as I said before, doesn't matter your input is a pixel or a character or a word, they will work. They will work as long as you have the data. As long as you have, I mean, what does the French Wikipedia talk about? It talks about the things that the Turkish Wikipedia talks about. Okay, so if you are smart enough, you read all the French Wikipedia. Do you read all the Turkish Wikipedia? If you are smart enough, if you are smart enough to memorize all of that, chances are that you will see what kind of sentences translate to what kind of sentences. That what happens. Okay, so that's the current hot thing. Let's do this without any supervision, human involvement. Okay. But again, coming back to the main idea, we need to learn the classical NLP techniques. We need to learn the classical artificial intelligence technique so that we can understand what is working, how that is working, and in case we need to go back and figure something out, these are the things that are more important. Otherwise, as I said before, this would become a deep learning or machine learning course, and as I said before, there are already deep learning courses available, and we are offering one. The first session will be tomorrow 16:30 or 16 tomorrow, and if you like to attend online, you are welcome to attend our deep learning course. It is more general course. Many people from different universities, different departments join that course. In that course, we talk about natural language processing too, but the focus of these two courses will be different. Okay. Okay, grading.
I have a question, sir.
Sure.
The title of the course is Natural Language and Speech Processing, as far as I know.
Yes.
But I didn't see any topic regarding speech processing in the course objectives.
Yeah.
Are we going to see anything about speech processing?
Well, the title of the course is Natural Language Processing for the undergraduates. Okay. Natural language and speech processing for the graduate students. but we changed, I mean the title stayed the same, but we changed the course contents. We don't talk about any speech processing anymore, because it turned out that the undergraduate students, they perform much better than the graduate students, so I don't want to do more work for the graduate students, because they are already doing poorly compared to the undergrad students. So what you are saying is that you have a good point. Although the graduate course is named Natural Language and Speech Processing, we don't do any speech processing in this course. Okay, and changing the
Okay,
name of
thanks.
the course is not a very easy thing. It has to go to the faculty and the senate and that kind of stuff. I was going to do that. Okay, so no speech stuff for this course. Of course, we are going to talk about the phonetics. We are going to talk about the sound from time to time, but there won't be any explicit discussion about the speech processing. Okay, what is time? Okay. So because of this the virus thing, I am not going to hold 50-minute lectures. I will hold 40-minute lectures, since I started maybe 10 minutes late. So I will stop at 2:20. Then we will open all the windows, let some air fill in. We are going to empty this room. After 20 minutes we are going to start again. Okay, so 40 minutes of lecture and 20 minutes of breaks. That's what we are going to do. So I have 6 more minutes before the break. This is the grading policy. Midterm will be 30%. Final will be 30% for the undergraduate. Final will be 40% for the undergraduate students. Okay, 30% for the graduate students, and I don't know why I put BS in here. This should be graduate students. This should be GS. Okay, for graduate students this is 30%. For the undergraduate is 40%. Homeworks will be 30%, and for the graduate students there will be a paper presentation. Okay, or project implementation. I will make a decision on this project or paper during the semester, and I will announce it. So this 10%, this 30 plus 10 is 40. The undergrad students, they don't have to do this 10% paper presentation, but if they prefer, if they like, they are welcome to do the paper presentation too. If they do it, it will be bonus for them. Okay, 10% extra for the undergrad students. So as I said before, I expect the graduate students to do more in this course. This is how we are going to do it. Okay, so for the homeworks, I think there will be 4 homeworks. I expect you to do at least 3 of them, or 75% of the assigned homeworks. Okay, so you don't say that I am not submitting any homeworks. I expect you to do homeworks, and I expect you to do all the homeworks actually. But if you couldn't, maybe you can miss one of them, not 2 of them. If you miss 2 of them, you will get a grade of NA from this course. Okay. Good. Okay, so this is the grading policy. Any questions from the online people? How many online people we have now? What happened? No signal?
Maybe there's any consistency between.
I touched it slightly. Is this okay now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming. Okay, good. So I shouldn't touch it. Any questions from the online people? I have 21 online, and maybe, okay, I forgot about the attendance. Could you write the date and the name of the course and rest? Efkan, do you have a question?
No, I don't have any question.
Then lower your hand. You are raising your hand.
Yeah. It's old.
Okay. I cannot.
lowering.
Okay, good. Okay. Okay, let me move on. Okay, I will assign all the homeworks through the, not Moodle, I don't have a Moodle, it's just, as I said before, Teams. Okay, homeworks are due exact time shown on the Teams page, and if you are late, I will deduct 10% of the maximum grade. So if you are 1 day late, your homework will be graded out of 90. If you are 2 days late, it will be graded out of 80. This will continue, but after 4 days, I will not accept your submissions. Okay. And each homework, you are going to demo it to me or to the TA or to somebody else. Okay. So it is very important for you to write a nice report so that we can understand what you did and what you didn't, what is your extra stuff, what is your missing stuff, and etc. And we are going to use that information. So this is the homework submission and homework grading policy. Exam dates, I plan to do the midterm exam at the exact midterm time, the 7th week of the semester, because the semester is 14 weeks. 7th week is November 8th, Monday. Okay, is that true? No, is November 8th Monday? Let me try to see. Yeah, November 8th is Monday. 7th week of the semester. But this is tentative because, I mean, I don't know, sometimes we make a discussion. We say that let's delay the midterm 1 week or 2 weeks, and etc. We can do that. So let's make let's make this decision on November 1st, okay? On November 1st, Monday, let's make our decision about the midterm, okay? Our final will be the 2nd week of the finals period. Usually that time we don't have the full control, but I will ask the 2nd week of the finals so that you have more time to study. Okay, good. I will talk about the attendance. Attendance is kind of important, but I have to take a break now. Let's take 20 minutes of break. We should be here around 14:40. Okay? See you in 20 minutes. Please leave the room. Let's open up all the windows. Let some air come in.
Bir şey sorabilir miyim?
Yes.
Dersi bölmek istemiyorum da bu graduate student ve undergraduate student farkı ne oluyor? Yani,
Farkı bilmiyorsan sen undergraduate'sin.
yani ilk defa aldığım için mi oluyor yoksa başka bir şey mi oluyor graduate'den?
Sen bizim öğrencimiz değil misin? Sen lisans değil misin?
Lisansım mı?
Lisans undergraduate işte.
Graduate'ler ne oluyor hocam?
Onlar yüksek lisans doktoralar.
Onlar da alabiliyor bu dersi.
Onlar farklı bir ders. Onlar 654'ü alıyorlar. Sen 484'ü alıyorsun.
Hocam demolar nasıl oluyor acaba?
Demoları oturuyor. Eskiden lab'a otururduk. Derdik ki şunu göster, bunu göster, bunu göster. Yani yaptıklarından.
Dönemin sonunda mı oluyor yoksa?
Genelde ödev verdikten sonra ama çoğu zaman dönem sonuna kadar sarkıyor ya.
Hocam bu
Arkadaşlar yoklama ne oldu? Herkes imzalıyor mu? İmzalıyorlar mı? Onu bana verin de ben bir daha sonra derste vereyim. Olur mu ya? Verin bana.
Hocam her pazartesi önce ismimizi yazdıracak mıyız sınıfa gelmiş?
İşte tam onun hakkında konuşacaktım ben. Derste onun hakkında konuşacağız.
ben ders için yapmıştım da siz onu böyle...
Ya senin ders seçimde seminer 1 ile seminer 2'yi aynı anda koymuştun.
Yok onu olasılıkla izin vermedikleri için
Ondan sonra ben seminer 2'yi düşürünce de kaydettirmedi bana. Ondan sonra ekleyemedim de orada.
Yok, yeni şifresi yok.
senin şifresi hayır. Yani mail
Zor
hesabına
olur,
hesabına
tabii
login olup oradan Teams'e geçmen gerekiyor. Yok sen açtıysan sorun yok.
Şuna baksana.
Anlamaya çalış.
Tükenmez kalem var mı abi sence? Mavi tükenmez kalem var mı?
Okul şeyiymiş, GTT'leymiş.
Nasıl o?
Gel lan. Evet, e-posta. Otomu açtım e-posta. Geldik. E-posta. E-posta. Yaz şeyi kullanıcı. Etki etkileri şeklinde. Var GTT. Ama şey falan vardı orada. Berkay Koçak diye vermemiştir.
Ha, numara var burada. Evet.
Yerini etmiş sonra.
Ama ben buradan gireceğim yani.
Oradan gireceksin, şifreni de gireceksin. Oradan oraya girdikten sonra Teams'e geçeceksin. Teams'e geçtiğinde büyük ihtimalle zaten dersin grubundasındır.
Tabii ya, o şey olarak aldım. Hani dersini aldım dersi.
Dersi aldıysan yani danışmanın şeyden önce onaylamadıysa gruptasındır. Yani daha sonra onayladıysa belki bir ihtimal grupta olmayabilirsin ama gruptasındır yani.
Grupluyumdur ya. Şeyde 3. günü onayladı. Ders seçiminin 3. günü onayladı.
Tamam. Yani onayladıysa 3. gün gruptasındır. Aynen. Oradan yani şeyle girsen bile, öteki üzerinden girsen bile tam haklarını giremezsin. Yani şimdi ödev falan teslim edersin, bir şey yaşarsın. Çünkü grupta da kalmaz.
bize gelmemiş değil mi?
Değil mi kontenjandan da gidersen?
Efendim?
Kontenjandan falan.
Kontenjan?
Evet, kontenjandan da oluyor ya senin.
Ha, yani benim de öyle oldu ya. Kolaylarda oldu sonra kaldı. Ses gidiyor olabilir.
Ben kolay da seçmiştim de. Sonradan hoca 4 tane seçtiğini çıkarmış. Ondan sonra ikisini çıkardı. Sonra bu olmak zorunda kaldım mecbur. Sesli bir kaç. Şimdi o yüzden çalışmaktı. Sınıfta işte her şeyde sorun yok. Your responsible from all the subject original.
Görüşmeye başlayalım.
Okay, so with the attendance, where is the rest of the class? Did they left? They left already? So you don't have a mask? You are supposed to wear a mask. Okay, so for the attendance, well, theoretically nothing has changed. You are supposed to attend 70% of the classes to get a passing grade, either you are a graduate student or undergraduate student. But the thing is that this class is not large enough. I have total of 50 people for this class, and I don't see 50 people fitting in this room in a safe way. So what we are going to do is, you don't have to come to class all the time. If you don't come to class, you are supposed to attend the class online. But at the end of the semester, I need to see you at least 60% of the time in the class. Okay? So I will take the attendance. Now I am circulating the attendance sheet, okay? I need to see you 60% of the time, okay? If we have 14 weeks, what is 60% of 14? 8. So I need to see you 8 times throughout the semester. I need to see 8 signatures on that signature sheet, okay? The rest, you are supposed to follow the lectures online, okay? So whatever your choice is, okay, you are responsible from all the subjects, okay? By the way, I started a new sheet. That's a new one. The old one, I am going to throw it away, okay? Because that's the registration.
Again, sir?
Well,
I don't have money.
because you didn't register, you are supposed to register. For those unregistered people, put your name under the table. Okay. So if you sign this, I will ignore this one. Okay. That's the one. Okay. That's the one that counts. Again, the class lectures by appointment only. I will post these. Maybe I can do it today, right? So I am going to post 13. I am going to post 13 Excel spreadsheets today, or maybe tomorrow. Oh, come on, it's gone. That's what I was afraid of. Whatever happens, I am taking a recording of these lectures locally. So when I post them on YouTube, even if there is a interrupt with the online, can you guys hear me now? Online people? Do you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good, thank you. When I post them to the YouTube, my YouTube channel, you won't miss anything, even if it is offline. But I see it when you are offline. I will try to correct it as soon as I can. Okay, so I will post those spreadsheets on today, and you are gonna write your names. So you make sure that you write your names at least 60% of those spreadsheets. I mean, one of them is a guaranteed because you are going to come to the midterm, right? So 7 of them should be in class. And I mean, of course, I like you to come to the classes, all the classes, face to face, but I don't have the space. So for now, please only write 7. Only write your name 7 times, because if you write more, people may not find enough spots to write their names. So if there is available spots later, you can add your names later. But for now, let's limit your attendances to 7. So it's like 50% of the classes. Okay, good. So that's the attendance. Okay, everybody signed it? I have 2 people, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14 people in here. 2 people wrote their names, but they didn't come. Is Abdullah here? Abdullah Çelik? Abdullah?
Hocam online dinliyor şu an.
Çocuklar niye geçti hocam biraz önce?
He write his name here. Okay, so he didn't sign it. Whatever. Okay, good. Any questions about the attendance? I know it is kind of weird, and if you have any other suggestions, I am open to any suggestions. If you think that there is a better way of handling stuff, we could do it that way. But This is the solution that we have found. The other thing might be if Z23 is empty, maybe I could use it, but I don't think that is empty.
There's a PL class.
What class?
Programming language.
Programming, okay, it's a larger class, so I cannot kick them out. They are much larger. So that's the solution that we came up with. So these are extraordinary times, and we have to refer to these kind of solutions, unfortunately. And okay, I mean, this is the best we can do. It's better than doing it 100% online. Announcement and lecture videos, as I said, all the announcements will be made from the Teams page or the emails. And you are supposed to monitor the Teams page and the emails regularly. And I will try to make a recording of these class sessions locally and by Teams. So please look at this sign here. This means that Teams is recording. You see it, the red one, right? Do you see it? And also this one here. This one here. Maybe the online people can monitor it better. So this one means that I am recording it locally. This one means that I am recording it with the Teams. Both of them should be red. If you see that, whenever you notice that, whenever you notice that the red is not there, I'm not recording, please inform me about it so that I can start recording. And whatever I have recorded, whatever I am recording, I am going to post it on my YouTube channel if I am recording it locally. Teams recording will be already available in the Teams page automatically. Yes?
So can I ask a question?
Sure.
Why your camera is recording us?
What?
Why your video camera is recording us?
Because I don't know. I mean, if they look at me, they are not going to see my lips moving, so that doesn't make any. And most of you are more beautiful than myself. That's why.
You are more beautiful. But
I don't know. I need to show something. Maybe. Okay. Yes. Okay. You have a question?
No, I
Okay.
gave the other class.
Okay. Thank you. So you don't like this one taking your, or maybe you should put your mask way up. Okay. Any other questions? This one is getting fogged all the time. Honor code. Well, you know what this means. I mean, whatever you submit, it should be your work. If you get some help from some other people or similarities, we won't like it. Okay, that doesn't mean that don't talk to anybody else about your homeworks, projects, etc. Of course you should, but sharing of code is strictly prohibited. Even a single line of code is similar to with somebody else. We have the rule of, the rule of -100, right? We will apply that rule. Okay, these are the things that we are going to cover. Okay, these are very classical NLP stuff. Morphology, what is morphology? Do you know, anybody knows about morphology? What is morphology? Morphology is the field that looks at the word structure, okay? You have the root of the word, you have the suffixes of the word, right? You either add your suffixes in front of the word, sometimes the end of the word, okay, affixes or suffixes. That's called the morphology, and morphology is a field which is not that difficult for English because you don't play with the words that much in English. You say book, books, booking, booked, etc. Only a finite number of morphological operations for the words in English. But in Turkish, it's a very different story for Turkish or Turkish type of languages, aggluterative languages, we call them. Why? Because we play with the words a lot. I mean, given a word, for example, especially with the verbs, okay? When you say a verb such as gel, come, okay? you have the inflectional derivations. You have the other types of derivations that makes another word out of this word, right? So when you say, without changing the meaning of the word gel, okay, you say geldi, geldim, geliyor, geliyorlarmış, geliyorlarmışçasına, geliyorlarmış, etc. Thousands of different possibilities for Turkish, in terms of morphology. So many techniques that are developed for English or European languages doesn't work for Turkish. So we are going to look at it. Then we are going to look at the language models. What is a model? Can you tell me what model is? I mean, it doesn't have to be a language model. Just tell me what a model is. Give me an example of a model, for example.
Sir, we can say deep learning models like convolutional network models.
But that deep learning model, what does it model? When you say a model, okay, that's a good example actually. When you say I have a deep learning model, DL model, this model, deep learning model, takes a sentence, for example, and it says this is a positive sentence or negative sentence. This is called sentiment analysis, duygu durum analizi in Turkish, okay? So I am modeling the whole language, Turkish language, in terms of making a classification plus or minus. So this model is my way of representing the whole language, and this one uses the deep learning techniques, okay? Deep learning techniques is not the only thing to model stuff. There are statistical models, okay? Statistically, I can model the weather, okay? Statistical model of weather. This one will take, for example, the temperature, pressure, humidity, and it's going to tell me it's going to rain or not rain. How does the statistical model work? I gather the statistics of the Gebze area, okay, for 1,000 days, and I say that I have seen this before, 30% chances of raining today, because when I make this observation, out of 130 days, it rained. So it's a statistical model, okay? And there are some mathematical models, right? Some models, for example, let me show you some mathematical model. This is temperature, humidity, and pressure. If I multiply temperature with 0.2 plus, take the square root of h and multiply it with 0.8 plus, take the cube of the pressure, and if this whole thing is greater than, let's say, 500, then it's going to rain, okay? So how did I get this formula? I don't know, I just made it up. I am smart enough, right? How do you think that Newton got this idea of F is equal to m times a? This was his mathematical model of the moving object, right? Newton came up with this idea. He said that this is my model. And we didn't ask him, how did you come up with this one? He said that this is my model, and I think that the objects are moving using this equation. I mean, you can model the object, you can guess the object's movements, okay, under the gravity using this value. You need to measure its mass, okay, there has to be a force on it, and acceleration has to be measured. If you use this formula, you can guess where the objects are going to be under some condition, and it turns out that it works very well in this world, okay? It doesn't work very well for the very small particles like quantum particles. It doesn't work. It doesn't work for the very large objects like the galaxies and the very far away objects or the stars, that kind of stuff. But on this world, it works very well. Okay, so his mathematical model for the moving objects. And this is my mathematical model for the weather guessing stuff. We are going to develop these kind of models for the language, human language. Okay. Of course, we will not have. I mean, the genius of Newton is this is so simple and so precise. Okay. Unfortunately, we will not have these kind of models for the human language. Okay, we will not have any models like human language, but we will have models like the statistical model. We will have models like the machine learning models. Okay, so we are going to look at those models. And sometimes if the problem is very simple, we are going to have very models like the finite state transducer and etc. Okay, so again, with this one, it's important. Okay, with this one, we will have to look at some of the formalisms. I mean, the way we can model stuff, whether it's a weather or moving of the objects or the language. So we are going to look the mathematical ways of doing it, statistical ways of doing it, software ways of doing it, and we will call those models. And that's why I like to make this class as a classical NLP class so that you can see these kind of models. Maybe you're going to use those models in some other ways, in some other research topics or your practical engineering life. Okay. And then we are going to look at this part of speech tagging. What is part of speech tagging? I book my tickets. Okay, so I know that this is a pronoun, right? This is a, what is this book? Is a noun or verb? Book. I mean, when you look at the meaning of book in Webster dictionary, you will see that it has at least 10, 15 different meanings. Some of them are verb books, some of them are noun books, and some of them are actually adjective books. Okay, if you look at that. So parts of speech tagging say that if you use this word here, it's a verb. Okay. What's ticket? Ticket could be verb or noun. Okay. But if you use it like this, it has to be a noun. Okay. So part of speech tagging takes this sentence and it says that this is a pronoun, this is a verb, and preposition, and noun again. Okay, why do we do such a thing? Because this is very useful to understand the sentence. This is very useful to translate the sentence from this English sentence to Turkish sentence. Okay, from I mean the verb. What is the verb meaning of book in Turkish? Ayırtmak. What is the noun meaning of book in Turkish? Kitap, right? So those are two different things. So without giving this kind of label, noun or verb label, I cannot translate this. I cannot understand this. That's what we are trying to say. Okay? Typical artificial intelligence problem. Again, classification. Given a sentence, what kind of sentence is this? Is this a positive sentence or negative sentence? Why is it important? It is important because if you are a company, let's say, I am launching a new product. Let's say, I am the CEO of Apple. I am launching a new product. After launching the new product, I like to see the opinions of people. Okay, if it's positive or negative. How many TVs do you think that Apple is getting per day about their products? In the orders of tens of millions, right? As a CEO, I cannot read all of them. I mean, there is no single person to read all of those tweets or Instagram messages or that kind of stuff. So automated system scans all those messages and at the end gives me a report says that 80% of the people are posting positive messages or negative messages. Or as a political party, before the elections, every day I count the number of positives and negatives about my candidates, and I can see what kind of results I am getting after the elections, right? So classification is important. Hidden Markov models are very useful models developed for modeling sequential stuff. Okay, what do I mean by sequential? Like the sentences, right? The meaning of this sentence, I book my tickets, is very different than tickets I book. Okay, if you change the order, it changes. So hidden Markov model models data that has sequence order. Okay, so it is important. So we use hidden Markov models a lot for the NLP tasks, and we are going to this. Constituency parsing is this. In English, a sentence will have a noun phrase and verb phrase. A noun phrase can be composed of a noun or pronoun. Okay. A verb phrase could be just verb or sometimes verb and adverb. Okay, so this is a grammar, right? I am defining a grammar for English. Okay, given a sentence like I slept well. Okay, so we would say that, okay, this is a pronoun, and pronoun is a noun phrase. This is adverb. This is verb, and this is a verb phrase. Noun phrase, verb phrase makes a sentence. Okay, so I parsed a sentence like language parsing, computer programming language parsing. I parsed the English sentence and assigned these structures to it. These are called constituencies, gruplama, groupings of, okay. Slept well is a verb phrase, okay. I is a pronoun, but actually it's a noun phrase. And if you put a noun phrase with a verb phrase, I would call a sentence in English, okay. Of course, this structure doesn't work well for Turkish. Turkish has its own grammar, and that means that we have to develop these kind of grammars for the whole language. And unfortunately, again, you cannot define all English sentences using a single grammar. Okay, maybe you can do 98% for the whole language. There will be always exceptions. There will be always exceptions. 2% or 5% of the sentences cannot be parsed like that for Turkish or English. Okay, again, I am modeling it. I am modeling this language using a grammar, and people have been working on these language grammars for the 2,000-3,000 years, right? I mean, there is always people use some kind of a language, and people wanted to explain these languages using grammars when they teach. I mean, remember your primary school, okay? When you started studying Turkish, they teach you how to distinguish a noun from the verb and etc. Right? This is how we teach our children the language itself. So we know this outside of the computer science. We use it there too, but now we are going to use the same information for the natural language processing. Another interesting parsing technique is dependency parsing. Let's try to do the same thing for Turkish. Güzel uyudum. Güzel uyudum. That's the translation of the same sentence to Turkish, right? What is the difference between güzel uyudum and uyudum güzel?
Verb is at the end.
What?
Verb is at the end. It's the last.
What is the meaning? What is the difference between the meanings? One says that güzel uyudum. Okula geldim and geldim okula. What is the difference?
There is no difference in the terms of meaning.
No, meanings
But
are different. Geldim
the
okula and okula geldim are very different. When you say okula geldim, you are defining something. You are saying that the action is me being in the school. Geldim okula is something a little bit different. It is talking about instead of doing something else, I did something like geldim okula. Okula gelmek is the thing. So the meaning changes, but both of them are grammatically acceptable sentences, right? So in Turkish, you can change the order of the words and it means something different. Okay? These are called fluent languages. Turkish is like that. English is not like that. Okay? In English, word order is very important in terms of grammar. In Turkish, both of them are acceptable, but meaning changes. So how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this kind of a grammar for Turkish? Unfortunately, we cannot. Okay? Unfortunately, we cannot say that Turkish, the sentence starts with a noun phrase or it starts with a verb phrase. No, it changes. The order is important, but it is not, the meaning of the order is not the same as the meaning of order in English. So they invented this dependency parsing. Okay, they say that in a sentence there should be a verb. Okay, this is the verb. I would say this is the verb, and this one is dependent on that verb, and we call this adverb, or in Turkish we call it zarf, right? So it is dependent on this verb as an adverb. Order is not important. I can say güzel uyudum, uyudum güzel. Okay, this parse will not change because order is not important in this case. Verb is verb and that finds that. So dependency parsing is a better way of parsing Turkish sentences than English sentences. Okay? That's why it makes it difficult to translate between Turkish and English using these kind of approaches. Okay. Good. Other types of problems that we are going to look at, anaphora and co-reference. In English, this is important. In Turkish, it's kind of built in inside our language, but in English, it is Mary and John were reading a book. Then she decided to stop. Who is she? She is Mary, right? We know that. But if I try to explain the same thing, if I try to translate the same thing to Turkish, Mary ile Meryem'le Yahya is John, right? Meryem'le Yahya kitap okuyorlardı. Birdenbire durmak istedi. Who is durmak istedi? Meryem or Yahya? You don't know, right? Because language doesn't let you. You will say that Meryem'le Yahya kitap okuyorlardı. Meryem birden durmak istedi. You will say in Turkish, right? You have to repeat that because O doesn't work. Which one? Okay, so that's the co-reference. What am I referring with she in there, right? In English, it's kind of known. In Turkish, it is not. So the co-reference is the problem of what am I referring with these kind of pronouns, okay, or zamir. And there are many ways of, what was the joke in Hababam sınıfı? Where is who? Mahmut Hoca nasıldı ya o? Nasıldı? Müfettiş nerede miydi? Müfettiş nerede at kaçırdı diyordu ya. Müfettiş nerede? At kaçırdı. Müfettiş at mı kaçırdı? Yok hocam at müfettişi kaçırdı diyorlardı ya. Nasıldı o sahne? Bilmiyor mu bunlar ya? Online olanlar. Hemen izleyin ben söyleyeyim bana. Nasıldı o sahne? Siz Hababam sınıfı izlemeden mi bildiniz? Hangi sahne? Bir tane sahne var.
İzci kampındalar.
Ha, diyor nerede hocanız? At kaçırdı diyor. Kimi Şener Şen'i at kaçırmıştı.
Evet.
Nerede hocanız? At kaçırdı. Ne? Hocanız at mı kaçırdı? Yok hocam at hocayı kaçırdı. Co-reference problem. If you interpret these co-reference problems in a different way, it becomes funny. For some reason, we prefer laughing at those kind of co-reference, co-reference ambiguations. Machine translation again, we talked about it. This is going to come more and more often because this is the ultimate natural language processing problem. You have to understand everything about the sentence before you translate it. How about the time? When did we start? We start 40, so I am going to stop at 20, right? Okay. And again, maybe these will not make much sense now, but we will talk about it. So as you see, there are many things that we need to be aware of, and there are many classical literature information. Okay, lots of classical literature information, edebiyat bilgisi you could say, or dil bilgisi. You could say that can be utilized for processing the language on computers, and we are going to see some of them. Okay. But when it comes to deep learning or machine learning, usually we ignore this kind of stuff, and we would say that, I mean, the best you can do with this kind of grammar parsing is 95%. For some of the deep learning applications or machine learning applications, you could do 98%. Okay, so without knowing anything about the language structure itself. So why are we wasting our time with this kind of stuff? Again, this is an academical course. Of course, I am going to try to teach you what is possible and what is not possible with the current state of the art. But I like to teach you some stuff that people have used. For example, this hidden Markov model, we are going to talk about it. Statistical models, maybe some machine learning models, maybe other type of models, and then you're going to see what kind of solutions you can develop for typical engineering problems in your life. Not necessarily natural language problems, but maybe some other types of problems. That problems that involve, like your problems in bioengineering stuff, like sequential data, DNA data, etc. Okay, so that was kind of an introduction to NLP course, and this is what this course about. If you like it, please continue. Otherwise, I guess you don't have much choice, right? I mean, so this is your elective choice. So are all the courses now full? Because I am seeing that there are 40 people in my class. Are there any? All of them are full?
I couldn't choose. I had to choose 3 or 4. I could choose only 2.
2. So you need one more.
2 more.
2 more. So we need to increase this quota to maybe 45. So that means that I will have 60 people in this one, and maybe we will play with that 60%. Anyway,
So can I ask a question? How it would be? How will our homework? I mean, what we will do are with these words. For example, if we would able to do write a code, and this code understand these sentences or meaning, the purpose of these nouns.
Yeah, maybe your final homework could be like that, but before that I will assign you some homeworks about morphology, about the structures of the words, right? And after that I will teach you some modeling techniques, and we are going to talk about those modeling techniques, statistical models of the languages itself. So when you see it, you are going to see. But at the end of the semester, I will show you how the state of the art deep learning based methods work actually. And it is not a difficult thing. I will show you how deep learning works. Maybe superficially a little bit. Because in deep learning or machine learning, you don't pay attention to the data. You pay attention to how you deal with the data. Okay, so I take the data, I optimize it this way. So the problems that you are dealing with has nothing to do with image pixels or your characters, your words. Okay, I don't want to do that. I want to show you how the NLP stuff works.
Deep learning. I don't know if I understood. Is it like language independent? Like it just takes a random language and then tries to figure it out?
You mean for the translation?
No, I mean for understanding translation or anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about how the humans learn the language. How do we learn the language? It's called the reinforcement learning. Nobody exclusively sits with us to teach Turkish or Turkish as our mother language, right? So you learn your language by observing, okay, and from time to time, you get rewards or penalties, okay. Whenever a 2-year-old child constructs a nice sentence, what would you say? I mean, just 2-year-old child is saying this, so it's a positive thing, okay? Or whenever that person says something grammatically correct, you will say afen or something like that, right? From time to time, you get penalties or you get rewards, and you change your mental model of the language like that. Okay, so machine learning is something like that too. The problem with our Turkish foreign language education system is they try to teach you the language this way. They say that in English the sentences are, they have to start with a noun and it has to end with a verb. And sometimes you should modify the verb with an adverb. Something like, nobody learns a language like this. This is good for making an analysis of the language, for the literature, to make very well constructed English sentences maybe, but this is not a way to teach a child or person a new language. The best way to teach a person or a young person to teach a new language is to make him or her practice it, okay, like a child. Okay, so machine learning is kind of doing the same thing, but for that you need lots of data, and for that you need very good algorithms for that reinforcement learning. Okay, we have some reinforcement algorithm techniques to learning new language or to learning how to interpret the outside world using the images or video, right? But as I said, I mean, those have nothing to do with natural language processing. Those are very important problems, but those are problems of machine learning and deep learning, okay? And this is not a machine learning class. This is not a deep learning class. This is a natural language processing class. That's why I like to teach you this kind of stuff. Okay, so I think I am out of time. Let's take 20 minutes of break. Please leave the room empty. And when we come back, I will start the real lecture from chapter 1, number 1.
Hocam bir şey sorabilir miyim? Hani %60'ın burada olmamız gerekiyor ya.
Ha?
Pek mümkün mü acaba? Ne var ne olmaz?
Bilmiyorum ki ya, yok ya, bugün çok kalabalık, 2-3 hafta sonra kimse kalmıyor ortada.
İşte hani %60 olunca hani hep kalabalık olmak zorunda olacak. Çünkü hani 40 kişilik sınıf.
50 kişi de olacak, 50-60 kişi olacak, %50, herkes midterm'e gelecek, tamam mı?
Tamam.
%10 arası diye düşün.
Yok hocam
Bugün de
mesela
%10 olacak.
Hocam
%40. Bugün de %10.
İyi de herkes gelmedi ki, 50 kişiden 30'u bile yoktu burada, 20'si yok.
hocam buranın kontenjanı 20 değil mi?
Ha?
Buranın kontenjanı 20 değil mi?
Yok, buranınkisi 30'muş, kapıda öyle yazıyor.
Ha, tamam.
Hocam ben şeyi tam anlayamadım. İngilizce ifade edemedim de. Hani biz önce bu modelleri öğreneceğiz. Ondan
Modelleri öğreneceğiz beraber, hem model hem bu NLP'yi beraber götüreceğiz.
Mesela ders sonunda deep learning'in temellerini mi öğrenmiş olacağız yani? Bize katkısı ne olacak ders bitiminde?
Bu dersin NLP dünyasında ne oluyor onu öğreneceksiniz. Bir NLP konusunda bir paper okuduğunuz zaman, ha bu şunu yapıyormuş, bunu yapıyormuş diyeceksiniz ve çözmek zorunda olduğumuz problemleri göreceksiniz.
Mesela neyle ilişkili piyasada bu NLP? Mesela çok dilsel bir şey ya.
Nasıl,
Yani
neyle ilişkili ya?
Yani şeyi...
Sen kayıtlı mısın buraya?
Değilim ama ismi yazıyor.
Alt tarafa yaz öyleyse. Söyledim ya, bu sentiment analizi çok önemli. Kimle çalışıyorum ben? Ha, diyor ki bir firma var. İşte diyor sosyal medyada senin çıkan tüm tweetleri tarıyorum ve pozitifleri, negatifleri, tendency'leri buluyorum diyor.
Analiz şeyleri.
Onlar var. Ondan sonra bir firma ne yapıyor biliyor musun? Yeni bir tane dava geldi ya avukatın birine. Geçmişteki tüm davaları tarayıp senin davana en yakın davayı bulacağım diyor. Ona hakim ne karar vermiş senin önüne koyacağım diyor, tamam mı? Aynı hatayı sen yapma ya da bundan yap. Bir de onlar hakimlere emsal gösterebiliyor. Bak bunda bu aynıymış diyor. Bunlar bu karar vermişler. Sen de bu kararı vereceksin. Hakimin önüne koyduğu zaman vermek zorunda kalıyor.
Machine learning tarafı da var mı o zaman bu dersin yani?
Tabii var. Dönem sonunda doğru onlardan anlatacağım ama machine learning olmak zorunda değil bunlar.
Teşekkür ederim.
Tamam.
İnternette atıyorum 1000 tane kaynak, yargıtay kararı, çıkardığı kararı hepsini araştırıyorum. Yeni çıkarım. Ne yapsam da uçar.
Valla ben işte İngilizce çok şey yapamadım da şey yapalım ya. Bu çok otomatik özetleme şeyleri falan var. Yani tabii o.
Ben bu derste deep learning'den farkını anlayamadım ya. Deep learning'den farkını anlayamadım.
Kelime analizi falan mı?
Alıyorsun. Deep learning biraz daha güzel.
kayıtta mı?
Varmış.
Arka tarafa ne yapmış yani? Asfalt mı? Uçak pistiymiş ya.
Uçak pisti zaten.
Ne?
Drone parkı burası.
Hadi canım.
Bunu iyalar kaldı. Sabah bir sürü bürokrasi geldi.
Ne zaman tam öyle oldu? Bu inşaat falan yeni mi oldu sen? Bak bu şey ama büyük dronlar. Drone normalde olduğu yerden kalkıyor. Bende var mı? Bunlar böyle bayağı şey.
İya herhalde.
Ha, ya falan büyük uçak.
Uçuş eğitimi aldım.
Baksana konu. Sen kullanabiliyor musun drone'u?
Yok kanki. Hiç kullanmadım. Sen?
Hı. Bu yaz mı?
Bu yaz öğrendin.
Kendi kendine çarça çar.
Parça aldın ya.
Yok mu sata sata? Hoca bayağı karavanış bir şey.
Nereye?
Şey. Sen almayı düşünüyor musun bunu?
Ne?
Derslerini düşünüyor musun?
Kanka çakışıyor. Nasıl yapacağım onu? Güzeller. Sevdim de. Çakışıyor.
Başka ne alıyorsun?
Optimizasyon. Bir de integrated search.
Circuit mi alıyorsun? Ya yazı olmaz mı? Çok alakasız bir ders. Yazılımla hiç alakası yok ya devrimle.
Kanka o vardı boşta sonra.
Augmented alıyorum. Digital Business Processing bayağı zor. Bir de Augmented falan düşünmüyor musun?
Ama nasıl ders?
Ya işte augmented reality var ya, telefonu gösteriyorsun. Yani falan. İlk çıkar haftaya mı olacak? Hiç kaçırmamamız lazım. Açılır açılmaz.
Dersi geçersin. Ne?
Sınavın kaybolmamıştı ama. Yani alma diyordum ama. Mecburen aldık.
Ben de image processing'i sordum. Adamlar hiç kalmadı. Yani image processing soruyor. Mecburen integrated circuit. Integrated
Okay, so let's start our formal discussion of the natural language processing. So this is what we said actually before. So we like to build systems or analyze systems that are performing useful and interesting tasks involving human languages, not formal languages but natural languages. And while we are doing this, we are actually somehow, one way or the another, okay, we need to look at this human processing of language. Okay, so we have to think about how the humans process this data. This will come into picture while we are doing this. And in fact, there is a completely different area, cognitive science. They try to model how the human brain works, so that when they model the human brain, they can do experiments on the model. And some part of that area looks at human language processing, and that might produce some useful information for us to use for our computational work. From time to time we are going to look at this human processing of the language, but our main interest is this, okay? We will try to build computer systems that involve interesting tasks about human language. Okay, so there are two main threads actually. One is this, the other one is these two. Actually, it is composed into two different items. Okay, we know this. Okay, ever since internet got popular at the end of 80s, beginning of 90s, okay, very large amount of data is available in machine readable format, okay, as natural language text. I will repeat this many times throughout this lecture, throughout this semester. Google says that they have scanned and they have tested through OCR all the available English text in this world, okay? If it is printed, if it is in English, Google says that we scanned it and the OCR machine language text is available for them, okay? On top of it, we are producing very large amounts of data every day, natural language data, with our fingers, right? Every time we send a message, oh, this is not good. I didn't bring my power source. So how much time do I have? Whatever it is, okay. So next time maybe I should bring my. I think it's not useful. Is it hot? No. Yeah, it is a little bit. So I lost lots of power for this one. That data is available and we are producing lots of data, and of course if the data is available, if you process it in a smart way, that means money, that means power, right? So we are going to do this, okay? And the other thing is that while we are communicating between each other as people, we started using computers. Maybe more than ever we are using computers to communicate with each other than just directly speaking, right? So nobody uses their cell phones calling feature anymore. You don't use your ears or you don't use your lips. You just keep typing something on your phone, on your computer, and that is what does that mean? That means that much of the human communication is now mediated by computers, okay? So that means what? If I understand what people are saying to each other, I can add more value to this communication. I can produce more information. I can be more useful as a computer system. So both of them, data is available, and the new data being added to the system is already processable by the computers using the natural language. techniques. So these two trends makes this natural language processing a lot more interesting. So people are capitalizing on it. Google is the #1 company making money out of this natural language processing, right? Whenever you make a search in Google, it is very smart. It finds you there is no competitor. Do you know any competitors that are doing internet search other than the Google? What? Well, those are the very old stuff, right? What do they? Other than the Bing, only maybe specialized stuff is doing.
They offer some kind of privacy in return.
Well, that's the main complaint about the Google. Google is stealing our data, which is true. But as a technology, as a better alternative in terms of the results, not the privacy. You don't see anybody else because they made their fortune by doing this, okay? But they were a very small company. They say that we are producing the best results, and in fact, if you do the click stuff, I asked the question, how many clicks I am going to do to get the result? Google is always the best because they are doing lots of NLP stuff, and the similar stuff people are doing, they are using this NLP stuff in the higher education. Again, remember that sentiment analysis. This Nielsen is a very large data analysis company doing lots of analysis work for the companies, giving them information about what people think about them, etc. So there are many companies doing NLP work. The market is hundreds of $billions for the NLP, billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. Okay, so translation is again very popular NLP task, and nowadays it is getting better and better. Nobody uses automated translation stuff for translating books from one language to another language, but almost all people, they start from Google Translate, then they change the sentences, right? It is much easier, so it gives you a much better idea to translate from one language to another language. Okay, these are some examples. It used to be amazing, like maybe 5 years ago, these kind of examples. Nowadays we think that this is ordinary. Yeah, we already know this. Yeah, but these are very, very sophisticated results, and I'm going to skip it. Microsoft has this one, live search. You ask this question again. This is a question answering system. What is the population of Boulder? Boulder is a city in USA, and it says that okay, the population of Boulder is this much, and I got this information from this US Census Bureau website. Okay, important application. You ask a question, it gives you an answer. This is one level higher than, in terms of NLP processing techniques, one level higher than the internet search. Okay, in the internet search previously it used to be like word matching. Now it is not word matching. It is you ask the question, you get the answer, and this is your answer, and this is where I got it. Okay, this is much more useful. Web question and answering, very important application of NLP again. Weblog analytics, okay, product marketing information. Remember the Apple CVO, or political opinion tracking. What kind of results are we going to get out of this German elections before the elections happen? Social network analysis is very important. Why? Because if I know all of your friends, okay, and if I know their tendencies of their shop